Bum, 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 bum.
Fucking
Fucking two different vibes.
I had to change it just in case.
We had to cut it off in the middle. Hey everyone!
It,
Let me
stopped.
turn off
I
the
think I'm...
Wi-Fi on my phone.
How do I look?
Oh, you're off center. Turn this way a little bit. Wow, I didn't catch that. Shift it like this.
Huh?
Like push one corner.
Bitches.
It's fine.
Taekwon. Don't be rude.
I used it in plural. It's not offensive because I'm not
Okay.
saying like
All right.
the woman. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
In your progressive
You've made
sentence, you full circled back.
You've made a circle.
No, it's fine. We often say that bitch is
It truly is the gender neutral term.
exactly.
Yeah.
And frequently,
Yeah.
men are bigger bitches. So,
That part.
it's
Yeah.
fine.
Anyway, what a way to start off.
yeah.
Ay, Dios mío. Welcome to another Shallow Dip. My name is John,
I'm Kendra.
and we are going to talk about a number of different things today, as you can see in the title there. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's popping in the realm of news that pertains to us.
Yeah,
I don't know why I said it like that.
The news that pertains to us. A lot of stuff's been happening. A lot of stuff's been going on.
Right.
And we'd be remiss not to mention it, even in passing.
So first on the docket here, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, they will be reprising their roles as Matt Murdock, Daredevil, and Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, respectively, in the Disney Plus MCU series Echo, which will star Alaqua Cox as Maya Lopez, reprising her role from the Hawkeye series. And so I just want to talk a little about this because we saw Charlie Cox reprise his role as Matt Murdock in Spider-Man No Way Home, and then we got Vincent D'Onofrio in Hawkeye. So yeah, I think we saw this coming. I think we definitely knew, well, we definitely figured that Kingpin would show up in the Echo series.
Yeah.
But hearing that
Matt Murdock,
and I think as Daredevil is going to be showing up in the series is very exciting because I think what happens in Echo will then kind of set up the new Daredevil project. I don't know if they're doing a movie or they're doing a rebooted series or what, but yeah, I thought this was very interesting. And
I
figured
agree.
you'd be interested in that.
No, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I figured Vinny D was going to be there. We knew that, but Charlie Cox... I'm happy whenever I get a chance to see Charlie Cox do anything anywhere. And when he showed up in Spider-Man, it was like, it was fantastic. It was a great moment. So, yeah, I'm for put him wherever. Put him wherever you want, and I'm happy. I'm there.
I mean, I like him too, but like, damn.
I didn't say anything weird.
You didn't have to. Anyway, but yeah, this is cool. And what's even cooler about this whole thing is that seeing Daredevil and Echo team up will be the first time, definitely in a Marvel property, I believe. I said definitely, then I believe. Anyway, it will be notable for seeing two superheroes with disabilities, or so. And they team up a lot in the comics, if I'm not mistaken. So that's just, it's a pretty cool thing to see on screen.
Also, Charlie Cox is Alaqua Cox's cousin.
That's not true.
But how they both have the last name Cox? That's crazy.
Yeah, this is going to be cool. I think that show is supposed to come out sometime next year. I think we're going to find that out, an official date, in just a couple weeks for when San Diego Comic-Con comes around. Because as we know, Marvel's making their big return to San Diego Comic-Con. And I think this, and actually the next bit of news we have, is probably going to be more fleshed out.
I agree.
And it was it was a weird like thing that happened, because I know originally these Netflix shows were supposed to be in the main timeline, the sacred timeline. But then as time like went on, they just kind of became their own thing. Same thing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of became its own like offshoot. But it seems like Marvel Studios proper is definitely bringing in a lot of the more popular storylines and things that worked really, really well from those shows. But I agree. Charlie Cox as Daredevil was like
perfect casting.
Absolutely knocked it out of the freaking park.
Yeah.
And Marvel's usually pretty good with their casting anyway. Can't say that about Iron Fist, but that wasn't his fault.
I don't think that was the casting's fault. But a lot of other faults.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in that. But yeah, 10,000% agree. Charlie Cox and really everyone on that show.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio as King, like you had to bring him back.
Yeah.
Even if you couldn't get Charlie Cox back, like you have to bring Vincent D'Onofrio. So yeah, I'm super excited for this project overall. But yeah, so that's the first bit of news there. He was so good at being blind that he fucked up his Han Solo audition for. I heard about that. I heard about that too. We were just talking about eye contact the other day.
Yeah.
And how, because outside of all this, I'm also an actor. And so I'm used to making direct eye contact with people, especially when I'm on stage and shit like that in everyday conversation. I'm just used to that. So having to play a role in which you have to purposefully not look at people yet react the same way.
It goes against your training.
Yeah.
I don't like looking at people. I hate eye contact. Right. Maintaining eye contact is a struggle. So I understand how hard it must be to like break out of that.
Right.
Because you know what probably happened? He probably didn't have to maintain eye contact, and then for like years and years. Sorry, I got a cat chowing down over here. And then he was like, wow, this is fantastic. I never have to see anyone perceive me ever again.
Right.
And then like that's why it was so hard to shake off.
Right.
Because it was great. Next time you go outside, try not making eye contact with people. It's fantastic. Unless you have to. Yeah,
but in certain scenarios, it also seems like shady.
Well, don't be like a creep about it.
Anyway. But yeah, I'm super excited for them to bring him back in any capacity. I think he's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
An awesome addition to the MCU. And I hope they keep his stories like smaller. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see him on screen with like Captain America. Cool. But like...
That's what made the Netflix shows so fun. Right. Is that they got to play with like low stakes and everything else. Because that was before like Marvel Studios shows.
Right.
That you have to like know like, okay, so... WandaVision takes place in this time, and you have to know this and this and this, and then go on from there. So it was nice.
I already don't make fuck socializing, am I right?
Yeah, it's something that I need to bring up with my therapist, and I support you doing the same. Because I talk a big game, but truly, I don't think it should be like I shouldn't be afraid to make eye contact with people.
Half my job is socializing, so I'm just used to it.
I'm okay with looking. I'm looking at John in his eyes right now.
So moving on, speaking of Captain America, it was announced shortly after the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series that there were reports that a fourth Captain America film was in the works. Obviously not Chris Evans, like that trilogy and that kind of saga has ended.
It's fourth only technically.
Right. It would be the fourth Captain America
standalone.
Right, in the MCU made. But this will be the start of a new Captain America film series starring Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, Captain America. My Captain America and yours. I don't care what anyone says.
I'm making a spoiler warning thing, so if you see stuff moving around on the screen, that's me. I apologize.
Captain Falcon is a character from Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, yeah. That one's taken.
Falcon Punch! But they found they've announced this movie. Well, they haven't like formally announced it, but it's pretty known that movie is happening. They found a director, Julius Onwa. He is a Nigerian-American director who directed The Cloverfield Paradox, a movie I hear was not received well. But
which one was that? Because there was one that was good.
Well, the first Cloverfield I thought was good. I
think
I didn't see any of the others. I heard 10 Cloverfield Lane was good.
Cloverfield, and then the one
with John Goodman.
Yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
I think that was 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Okay,
and I heard that was pretty good.
Then there was one after that.
Cloverfield Paradox. That's not a good impression. Yeah, that's what I hear. But I will reserve judgment because there are plenty of directors that maybe don't get it right the first time, especially when it's kind of shitty to come into a property like Cloverfield that's already so non-linear and has really nothing to go on other than the first. Even 10 Cloverfield Lane was not originally conceived as a Cloverfield movie. It only became that like down the line. So I will reserve judgment. I think it's exciting that Marvel continues to branch out and recruit new up and coming directors.
Right. And this, I would assume, the Cloverfield Paradox was like a horror movie.
I mean, I
like
didn't watch
a psychological
but
thriller movie. So I don't know. When I saw it, because I didn't hear about that, I saw it in your notes and I was like, are they getting another horror director in the MCU? Because I'm scared. I'm frightened of horror movies.
That J.J. Abrams. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, truly.
Interesting. I don't know a lot about Cloverfield, so.
I liked the first one. It was one of those found footage movies. I like that movie, but even that, like, it was a cool, like, concept for what that was. And then I feel like after the fact, they're trying to add all this lore to it, and it's not really working as well. So yeah, that was but I thought that was interesting. And I think the folks over at Marvel Studios, for the most part, nowadays have a better track record of what directors they use and recruit. So I feel like if this guy met with all these producers and Kevin Feige, I feel like he made some sort of impression with a movie he wants to make with Captain America that I'm going to trust it for now. I'm going to reserve judgment, and I'm going to trust it for the time being. I think if Anthony Mackie and I can't remember his name, the gentleman the showrunner for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, are involved, I feel like it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Seeing your comment here, found footage was cool until everyone started doing it. Yes. Yeah. Another found footage movie I actually really liked was the fucking superhero one. What's it called? Taekwon, help me out. It had Michael B. Jordan. Was Miles Teller in that movie? And that fucking dude who played Green Goblin in Amazing Spider-Man 2. He played Harry Osborn.
Oh, Fantastic Four.
No. Oh, God. No? Although Michael B. Jordan was in that with Miles Teller. Maybe that's why I'm confusing it.
That's why I said it. Hold on. Look at my spoiler thing that I made. Hold on. It should be popping up.
Found footage super.
That's how you spell spoilers, right?
Chronicle. Thank you, Taekwon. Chronicle. Yeah, I remember liking that movie. I've only seen it the once, but I remember liking it. That was directed by Josh Trank.
Who's that?
Oh, I like that spoilers.
Thanks. You see it moving around?
Spooky? Yeah, it's moving.
I'm trying to... Well, because I didn't want people to be like, I didn't see it.
Right.
I want people to see it.
Do a flip. Josh Trank, he speaking of Fantastic Four, look at this full circle. He was the director of that last Fantastic Four reboot with Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan. And like the day before it came out, he tweeted and saying, basically shitting on the studio, saying like, yes, this is not the movie I wanted to make.
I remember that.
And I saw that movie too. It was not good.
That's what I heard.
I wanted to like it. I wasn't totally against the idea. I thought it was weird, but again, I'm a pretty open person.
Yeah.
So I was coming into it like all these actors are super young to be playing the characters that they're playing. But I was like, whatever, I'll go with it for now. And it wasn't good.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you most of what happened in that movie. It was just non-memorable. The route they went with Doctor Doom was stupid. I remember that. I remember poor girl in that girl who played Sue Storm, Kate Mara. Man, they did my girl so dirty in that movie. She had to come back for reshoots, and they gave her
a horrible wig.
The most horrible wig.
Gosh, it's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
Now.
It's like a fever dream. It's like it never happened, but it did.
I had watched We Still Never Had a Good Doom.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I didn't hate the first Fantastic Four movie with Chris Evans and all those folks.
Hold on.
But
I don't think I ever saw it.
I'm sorry?
I don't think I ever saw it.
It's fine.
But I was watching, what was the one that Kate Mara was on? It was like a Netflix show, and that pedophile was on it.
Kevin Spacey.
House of Cards.
House of Cards. Okay.
I watched that before the pedophile stuff came out, and I remember thinking like, "Oh, Kate Mara is so good in this. I can only assume the Fantastic Four movie is going to be good." And then I started hearing that it was trash. House of Cards.
House of Cards.
Thank you.
I don't think it was anyone's fault who was in that movie. It
rarely is.
I think this one was a lot of studio meddling. Just because this is, I think it's 2015. So like a lot of, the Avengers had come out and like all these like big team up movies and stuff. So they wanted like a big epic.
And back then there was only really the one doing it right.
Right. And so the studio was like, we need to add this thing in here and blah, 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 blah. It just wasn't good. Yeah. God, what a movie. But Chronicle, a found footage superhero movie. It's kind of a similar premise. They like find this kind of mysterious alien kind of thing, and they touch it, of course, and it gives them powers.
Okay.
So it's kind of cool. I actually do like that movie, but I agree. Most found footage after that was just like everyone was trying to do it, and most people were getting it not right. Anyway, Captain America 4. They found a director, and I like a lot of the story points they used in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I hope if Sam gets his own trilogy as Captain America, I look forward to seeing like what they do with this character.
Yeah.
Because I love the character, and I love that he's getting this chance to be Captain America. So we can argue it's still the one doing it, right? Y'all remember Tom Cruise? Ooh.
Oh my God.
The Dark Universe.
The Dark Universe. What did they call it at first? As like a hee hee ha ha joke? The Universal Monster Verse or something like that?
Yeah. Universal's Monster Verse.
No one could. That was insane. What a crazy time. I will say that other places are getting there.
Right.
But like with The Boys is great superhero content now.
Oh, absolutely.
DC now has a few. Technically, Sony has a few good movies. So, yeah. But that fucking Universal Monsters thing, that was crazy. We were living through history and we didn't even realize it.
There's an alternate universe in the grand scheme of the multiverse. There is a universe in which
all of those movies
Tom Cruise never stopped trying.
Right.
And he made this monster universe.
He was in every single one of those monster universe.
Yeah. There was another movie that came before The Mummy that was technically supposed to be the start. I think it was
The Mummy.
Dracula something. Dracula Untold. I thought I was going fucking crazy.
Damn.
Okay.
Taekwon, you know every movie that has ever existed.
That's awesome.
That is crazy.
But yeah, I do remember that. Oof. Like, just stop. We already have the perfect Mummy movie. So.
Oh my God, yes we do.
We don't need to touch it.
I remember seeing like fan edits of like the cinematic universe posters, what they would look like for all of the monsters.
I know they're still trying to reboot a lot of these Universal monsters, and I'm like, I guess
there's an opportunity to do it successfully and make something really, really cool. I don't know what that is.
Right.
But it definitely can't be in like a cash grabby way. There's a way to do it and make it really cool.
You know what, monster movie's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, because it's not
What We
great.
Do in the Shadows.
No, that's not a guilty pleasure. I love that movie and the show. But Van Helsing.
Oh.
With Hugh Jackman.
Why does that sound like something my dad would watch? That photo shoot never happened. They edited the.
I remember that.
Photo for the Dark Universe.
They had this whole when they did the big press announcement for the Dark Universe.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, there's this big picture and it had all these celebrities. No.
Oh.
It was meant to be real, but they weren't there.
Oh no. Wow.
Yeah. Wow, what a trip down memory lane. All right, so kind of switching gears a little bit.
Oh. Switching into WWE, if you will.
Going a little kind of wrestling news. Vince McMahon. We are officially in the Vince McMahon is over party era. So for anyone who's been keeping up, the Wall Street Journal, Vince tag team. Anyone who's been keeping up, the Wall Street Journal released, the news that he had paid like $3 million to hush money, essentially. Well, now it's that he's paid like $16 million
12, something like that
over the course.
Over 16 years. Maybe,
something like that.
Or reversed.
He's paid millions of dollars.
Allegedly,
yes. Sorry, my apologies. He's allegedly paid millions of dollars in essentially hush money for sexual misconduct and like infidelity purposes.
Which is like, I remember when we first heard the first part of this story maybe not months, maybe a month ago.
Right. I think you're right. I think it's 12 million. I think I was just confusing the numbers.
I remember it was like, oh, he paid someone $2 million to cover up an affair. And I was like, I guess that's news. That's a lot of money, but it's well known that he and his wife are separated. So it's like, in the grand scheme of bad shit that you can do, that's not that bad. But then you mentioned like, if that was someone working for him, that power dynamic, that makes it bad. And I was like, fuck, I didn't even think about that. And then we were like, oh, surely WWE is going to try to like pull away. This was right after or around the same time that he stepped down, right, as CEO. And then we were like, okay, so they're going to try to distance themselves. Maybe this will be the thing that finally gets him to retire. He's fucking ancient. There's no reason for him to still be so active in it. And then the next Raw or SmackDown or whatever,
Both.
he came out.
Yeah.
He came out like 3 times.
Yeah.
Over like the next 3 shows, just being like, I'm here. And when we first saw him that first night, we were like, oh, he's announcing his retirement. Like, that's what this is. No.
Right. Nope.
And then he did this weird fucking jump and almost died. It was a whole thing.
Right.
So then now hearing this story, which is allegedly a lot worse and is like, from beyond the grave, he will still push us. I know. But I mean, like, that's interesting because if this is the thing that gets, I only have Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vince McMahon.
If this is the thing that gets Vince McMahon to retire in shame, what does that mean for Austin Theory, who is Vince's like hand-picked protege? That's kind of a shitty place to be in.
Right.
I mean, out of everyone involved, Austin Theory, I feel the least bad for. I feel bad for all of these fucking women, allegedly, who...
Right.
Just like...
Well, the story is kind of shitty because, like, what... I mean, it's shitty regardless. But from my understanding of, like, what's going on, between he and John Laurinaitis, they were, like, you know, paying hush money and then would essentially demote and fire anyone who didn't want to continue with these sexual encounters. So, yeah, they're definitely... Even if you're getting... Like, I mean, obviously... They're paying you and making you sign NDAs so that you don't...
Talk about it?
Talk about it.
Yeah.
But they're also very much threatening your job and your livelihood. So, yeah, 50 Shades. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking Vince McMahon wishes.
Yeah.
At least in 50 Shades, everyone was willing.
Yeah, it was all consensual. This was not... I mean, it's not a pretty picture any way you slice it.
It's just insane to me. And I know that this is something that's been going on for like years and years and years. But this is like shit that you see in movies about like workplaces in the 70s and 80s. Which I mean, like, at the start, that's what it was. But It's just insane to me that shit is still common practice for some nasty old men.
Right. I mean, he's, like you say, he's fucking ancient. So I would not be surprised. I mean, as it stands right now, he's still, like the head of creative.
Yeah.
But I did notice how they very much left, handpicked by Mr. McMahon.
They didn't mention him at all.
Yeah. Off of
SmackDown.
Anytime Theory was on SmackDown, they did not bring that up.
Yeah.
I think they're really going to focus on he's the money in the bank, Mr. Money in the Bank, and blah, 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 blah. Because that is not a good look. No. I think all of SmackDown. I'm curious as to like how that kind of shook up the place because that whole SmackDown seemed weird anyway.
SmackDown was fucking weird. Is that on our list of things?
No, but we can talk about it before we get into our main story.
So first thing, and this is no tea, no shade to SmackDown, but for some reason our audio description.
This is a Sling thing.
This was a Sling thing. Our audio description was on the entire night. We couldn't turn it off. There was no way to turn it off. I think it was just like they were playing the audio descriptive version of the broadcast in like the regular slot. So it was just all fucked up. So we heard this lovely lady talk through the entire program.
Yeah, that we'll get to that.
Oh yeah. And then yeah, it was just like I can't think of like I think the best match of the night was the 5 minutes that Los Lotharios
and the Usos
were on screen, and that was it. Like everything else was just fucking bizarre. The Lacey Evans thing, bizarre.
Right.
That weird. Oh my god. I feel bad because I know Butch came from NXT and they like changed his name and his whole thing, and that sucks. But like I'm sick of Butch, and the best match was Roman's promo. Fair enough.
Honestly, yeah.
Fair enough.
That was a great promo.
But I'm sick of Butch. And to have that be the last thing, I felt so bad for those people in the audience. To have it's going to be a big match with Sheamus and Drew. And then you look and you're like, there are 5 minutes left. So right. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a whole... I I don't even think I watched the last 5 minutes because I was on the phone. I was on the phone with my mom, actually. But I was like, I'm not
and then
missing
they were
anything.
like, oh, in order to get the people back, we must make Drew McIntyre cut the top rope like he did that one time before.
Right.
And I mean, it was cool, but it was
Right.
it was weird. A weird
Yeah,
night.
it was a weird show. So I'm curious as to how much of that was like
Panic.
Yeah. But also, now that we're on the subject of SmackDown, I'm going to say this here.
Oh?
I know we're all fans, and even some of our shittier comments come from a place of, like, being fans of wrestling and wrestling entertainment. Mm-hmm. There is no reason, there's no justifiable reason other than just being an asshole that anyone should be bullying and threatening wrestlers, WWE superstars, online. Recently, Shotzi was essentially bullied off of Twitter, and Rhea Ripley was also the subject of some, harsh comments and things like that, because she's been out with an injury. I think someone sent Rhea Ripley a tweet that just said Rhea Ripley needs to be abused.
God
and it's like,
damn.
What? Like, I get we can feel however we want about their work, but there's no reason to like attack them online or anything like that. It's so shitty, and this is the part of like what we do is talk a lot about fandoms and like things we're into. And like, again, you can talk if something's shitty, you can talk about it being shitty. Okay, we had to do a whole separate pre-per-view for after SummerSlam last year. Yeah.
I know. They're not even hiding how fucked up that is.
Right. So like after SummerSlam, after the whole Becky Bianca thing last year,
yeah,
like we were not fans of that decision. Did they turn it around and make like a really compelling long-term story out of it? Yes. And I can commend them for that. But in that moment, we were not happy with that.
Yeah.
And so we can talk about that. But I would never go out of my way to say some shit to Becky Lynch online or Bianca Belair online. Bianca's another one who I'm surprised she's not off the internet now, because every single time she wins anything, every time she does anything after that show, they're just bombarded with like just these nasty comments about her. And I'm like, first off, how dare you? Bianca Belair's amazing. But two, like, what the fuck are we doing? So
I think it's the same mentality that leads people to like rush the stage like they did with Seth Rollins that one time. It's just exactly like And unless John stabbed someone, there's no reason for John to be stabbed.
Right. Yeah.
But it's just like people taking it. Don't stab him. It's just taking things so personally, and it's like you're not part of it. You're not part of it, and there's no reason for you to be so involved with it to the point where it's making you think it's okay to like attack people. And
that shit can get scary, because then you end up having like the stories like Alexa Bliss, where people are like threatening her, or you have that person you told me about, I think they're on Rooster Teeth or something, and their like home got broken into, like while
they were there.
That shit can get really scary really quickly. So even we on our last pre-per-view, we're talking about like, I really like Shotzi, I really want her to do well, she does make me nervous sometimes. That's about as negative as I think we got about her.
Yeah. I think she could have been safer, but Bianca Cartwright, yes. I
didn't know about that.
Yeah. That happened just a few weeks ago. How fucking terrifying is that?
Like, these are people.
Yeah, and then you feel like, I mean, it's something that, I don't know if you were ever raised to think of stuff this way. I think it might be like being a woman thing that you have to check after I go to a grocery store or a gas station, I always check to make sure no one's following me.
Right.
Because it happens all the time to people, all the time, where they get followed from public places. How fucking terrifying is that? And I'm nobody, but like to be in the public eye like that must be so fucking terrifying all the time. And then everything that, like all of your fears, instead of me looking in the rearview mirror and realizing no one's following me.
Right.
And no one's ever followed me. Right. Thankfully. It's happened to other people I know, but not me.
Yeah. And yeah.
But to be in their position and have validation every single time, going online and seeing like, oh, there are people who are telling me like, next time you're in town, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to make you fall in love with me. I'm going to marry you, blah, blah, blah. You see that shit happen all the time to like online personalities.
Right.
So like, it's the fear, except for it's actually validated. People actually follow you to your car. People actually tell you that they're going to murder you over the internet.
Or like when someone was waiting for Sasha Banks at an airport or something like that.
Yeah.
And speaking of Sasha Banks, like, you know, she and Naomi still constantly getting, I think Carmella posted something on Instagram and Naomi commented on it, you know, just because she doesn't work there or is not working there right now doesn't mean that they can't be friends with anyone.
Right.
And then just people replying to Naomi saying the nastiest shit because she's not a WWE or she's not whatever.
Yeah. I don't fucking doubt it.
Yeah.
People are insane.
So long story short, sorry, I have been thinking about this like all week because it's so shitty. And like, you know, what we see on the screen, it's all acting. It's theater. That's why I love wrestling so much. It's one of my favorite forms of theater. And just to know that there are just these people, and it's the same shit when people like, you know, say horrible, nasty, racist shit to like Moses Ingram from Obi-Wan Kenobi or anyone in Star Wars or superhero, anything right now. If they're a person of color, they're going to get bullied offline.
Yeah.
If they're a woman of color, more specifically, they're going to get bullied offline. And it's just like infuriating. And so if you are someone who follows any sort of wrestling content, entertainment content, this is us saying, don't be a dick.
I mean, I don't think you're here if you're a dick.
Right.
You probably wouldn't be here.
Right. Because that's not who we are.
Yeah.
But
we don't
just
throw
in
those
general.
Vibes.
So, sorry.
It's okay.
I got a little hot.
Okay.
All right. So our first main topic of tonight, y'all see it there. It's the first thing we got lined up is today we went and saw Thor, Love and Thunder, the fourth, I think is the only MCU solo hero that has gotten 4 movies so far.
Yeah, you're right. If you don't count the second one, still 3. If you don't count the bad ones, 2.
Fair enough. So this movie, just kind of recap everyone, it's also directed by Taika Waititi, starring Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, Christian Bale, Taika Waititi, of course, and Russell Crowe joining the party.
Yep, didn't recognize him there.
That's funny that you didn't recognize it because he was the one who spoiled that he was going to be playing Zeus. And also the Guardians of the Galaxy were there. Star-Lord, Drax, Rocket, Groot, Mantis,
Nebula.
Even Kraglin was there.
Yeah.
And one of his many, many wives, apparently.
Yeah.
Before we continue, spoilers.
Here, I got it. Wow, that's, you know what? Whoever made that, truly the eye of a designer. Beautiful. Love
Yes.
it. Didn't make it on the fly 5 minutes ago.
I'm curious as to why you chose that font.
Jonathan, I'm going to say, I already told you.
I didn't listen.
I can't fucking stand you. I wanted it to be like very, very noticeable.
Anyway,
it's fine.
thank you. I know
There's
it looks
blood
great
in this movie.
I was just curious.
It's gold.
So anyway, back to Thor: Love and Thunder. Just wanted to kind of gauge get our general thoughts and general reactions out there before we get into the
Here's the
some other
thing.
stuff.
Ragnarok might be my favorite MCU movie. So I had a great time and I loved it. My mother said afterwards it was kind of cheesy. She doesn't know shit. So I don't think we need to take her word for anything. But I could understand. My dad really liked Ragnarok too and rewatched it a lot. My mom doesn't really care about any of these movies. So I feel like for someone who isn't a big fan of like that style of comedy, I can understand them not enjoying it. Like if you didn't like Ragnarok, you might not like this movie either. Only because the vibe, like the comedy style, editing style, it's the same.
Yeah.
But I loved
agree.
it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, even though, like, you can always have the debate over, like, which one of something you like more. But this, debatably, even more so than Ragnarok, felt like a Taika Waititi project. This was like a Taika Waititi movie with the Thor characters in it. And this is something I love that the MCU, that Phase 4 is doing. They're letting the directors and the writers, like, they're letting them go make their own thing.
Yeah.
Which, at one point in time was a real issue for Marvel movies. That's why Joss Whedon initially left Marvel Studios, because after Age of Ultron.
Good riddance.
I mean, yeah.
Goodbye.
We kind of lucked out there.
But yeah, like if you think about like the only one I can really think of is like DC movies. They all feel the same. Going from Multiverse of Madness to Love and Thunder completely different. Completely different.
Because they let Sam Raimi make a Sam Raimi movie, and they let Taika Waititi make a Taika Waititi movie. And also, just even going with like Shang-Chi, like that felt so specific to what they were doing and what the director had in mind.
Yeah.
And I love that they're letting directors make movies that feel like projects they're working on. So I really, really love that. But yeah, this movie, for as quirky and silly as it was at times, was very beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
It was really, really pretty.
I mean, if you think of Ragnarok, there were some very beautiful, like the whole stylized scenes with the Valkyries. Oh my God, you could pause it at any moment and it's like a Renaissance painting.
Right.
So beautiful. So yeah, I think it's continuing on with that same
yeah, and
aesthetic.
To go when they were going into like the shadow realm and just watching the color, like watching it become like desaturated.
Or when they were fighting in the shadow realm and like Thor's cloak was red.
Right.
And Valkyrie's lightning bolt, thunderbolt was gold, but like everything else, it was pretty.
Right.
With like the way that the sun, it was like the same kind of lighting as the Valkyrie scenes.
Oh yeah. The way that this whole phase again is they're just ripping it out of the comic books, which is also really, really cool. Oh, she had a thought mid-drink.
I was going to say, I get the same kind of thoughts, or it kind of reminds me of like Ms. Marvel's stylization. Like that also feels very much comic booky to me in the way that like Scott Pilgrim felt more like graphic novel.
Right. Oh, don't worry, we're gonna get to Miss Marvel a little bit later.
We'll talk about Miss Marvel later, but yeah. But
yeah, absolutely. So something I had written here was like, for being a story about one of the only original Avengers lineup members, like
still kicking and doing stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, really, there's Hawkeye. and there's Hulk. So this is one of the first, well, the second, I guess, because Hawkeye did have a series. But anyway, going back to my point, for being a story about one of the original Avengers, this story is like surprisingly scaled back. Again, another kind of theme in the MCU. They're focusing on these like stories central to these characters, and they're really doing the character work. And they're not necessarily all origin stories or anything like that. But like at this movie's core, it's a love story, which I think is a very interesting way. And I know Taika Waititi kind of made some comments recently that he knows Marvel fans, I think he means like superhero fans in general, but Marvel fans might not expect like a love story in a superhero movie, like to this extent. I mean, there's always like the romance,
love and interests,
blah blah blah. A trope I'm glad has kind of gone by the wayside as of late, and using it as an opportunity to explore where Thor is in his own personal journey. Because like in this movie alone, I rewatched Ragnarok, Infinity War, and Endgame just to kind of see. Well, Ragnarok I watched on the plane, and then I rewatched. So that was like a month ago, and then I watched Avengers, Infinity War, Endgame like between 2 weeks. And so you see a lot of the stuff he goes through in just those movies alone. And then you go back to Thor: The Dark World and he lost his mom. So like over the last, 10 years of movies, like this character has lost so much.
I was thinking about it as, again, don't come after me, spoiler alert. When Jane Foster was dying literally in his arms, I'm thinking like Thor's lost everyone.
Right.
Everyone and his home.
Right. So he
the poor guy, he's so sweet and nice.
getting an opportunity to tell a story how he confronts like his grief, his own trauma, his loss, and his fears and insecurities. And yeah, even in this, he loses the love of his life. But what's interesting is that is the line he says toward the end of the movie. He says, everyone just wants to be loved. Like being loved is something everyone wants. And that's where he finds solace in Gore's daughter. And now he's kind of raising this child. He has someone to love, and he's now given this girl someone to love. And it's a really lovely little story. I was thinking about it on the drive home, because I'm just like, it is a love story, but it's not like your typical love story. Yeah. And it shows how Thor kind of comes to terms with his own feelings, essentially. Again, something not many men are shown doing in mainstream media.
Thor himself has been shown doing the opposite of not working through his feelings and instead spiraling.
Right.
And the other properties. So having him find the opposite of that, find something healthy.
Right.
Yeah, was really cool to see. And again, like you said, it's something that a lot of, it's not even like men. It's
Right.
society.
Yeah, like societal norms. Yeah.
Yeah, it just affects men more.
Yeah. That all that said, like that's like those are like the deeper like layers to the story. This movie's fucking funny.
Of course, I mean you knew it was gonna be funny.
This movie
funny.
is goofy as all hell. One of my favorite things happens right at the beginning. First off, I want Korg narrating everything.
Yeah.
The only person that is better at recapping anything than Korg is Luis in the Ant-Man movies.
Yes.
God, a conversation between those two.
I know.
It was at the beginning when the Guardians went to go ask Thor for help. he pulls Stormbreaker out.
Oh.
Yeah. I know you had a reaction to that.
Okay, I forgot where you were going first. I thought you were going to talk about the belly-to-belly suplex into a
No. That was awesome, but no.
No, so, yeah, okay. So Thor plants Stormbreaker into the ground to meditate in between kicking ass. And the Guardians come and they're like, we need your help to win this battle. And he's like, fucking bet. I'm so ready for this. Pulls out Stormbreaker, who, again, is a Groot, kind of. Pulls out Stormbreaker, who has now roots because it was growing in the ground. And he puts Stormbreaker in between his legs. And I'm thinking, there is no way we're about to see what we see. And then he jumps off and he flies Stormbreaker like a witch's broom. Inexplicably, he does that. No one says anything. And they never bring it up again.
He never does that again.
Never does it again. What the fuck? It was so funny because I know what happened was Chris Hemsworth just did that once and they thought it was funny.
Right.
And they let it slide.
Yeah.
That's what happened. It had to have been. It was so fucking funny. I forgot about that.
Oh God. And then he flies off to battle and he has this whole rehearsed war speech he does. It's fucking funny. What he called them ragtag desperados.
Yeah. Talking about the Guardians.
Like, what the fuck? And then he proceeds to fight all of these like owl looking alien things. And at one point, he belly to belly suplexes
a craft.
full.
It was a craft. Yeah. It was like a spacecraft.
A big ship. Yeah, it was awesome, but it was fucking funny. He did the Princess Fiona like kicking out their 2 feet.
So good. The whole first battle was hilarious. I love the point.
Oh.
I love the point you mentioned about Thor going against norms in regards to his emotions, because the thing I enjoyed about this movie is that in a movie about gods and aliens, etc., this feels more grounded emotionally than other MCU movies. I agree.
10,000%.
10,000%.
Yeah, and I love that overall about most of Phase 4, I think, has been...
We did the big stuff. We just did that. We don't need that again.
Right.
We need to build up from small stories again.
Because even those stories, like, Loki, I would say is like one of the bigger things that have happened. And but even then, and also Spider-Man No Way Home, again, another like big thing. But even then, those bigger things that were happening were not the focal point of the stories.
Yeah.
It was going on with those characters.
Yeah.
And so when people complain about like, I don't get why this didn't tie to this thing and we didn't even see this, and they said Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was going to be in Doctor Strange. No one said that, and shut the fuck up. Yeah, so I completely agree. I love the fact that this, all this fantastical space Viking shit is happening, and yet it still feels like someone who's just kind of working through their own shit. A couple other things I liked. Once we get to New Asgard, you know what? This is one we're gonna have to kind of disagree on a little bit. I actually really liked the Hawkeye series.
I like the Hawkeye series too. I also love Christmas.
Yeah, we're big time Christmas folks. I love Hawkeye. Oh, okay. Okay. So we're on the same page. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they just said fuck it. We're gonna go for broke. And also I really
they still made it fucking emotional because also at the same time, Hawkeye was literally losing his. He's
losing his hearing.
Yeah.
And he was still very much dealing with the loss of Natasha, who. Then we bring in Yelena Belova, who is also very much still never got to grieve because 5 years later and everything she knows is different.
Yeah. Anyway, now I want to rewatch Hawkeye.
And another part I thought was funny was after we arrive in New Asgard, which has become this tourist destination. It's hilarious. But we see another theatrical reenactment of the events of Thor Ragnarok.
I love that they kept that in.
And not only did we get Matt Damon and the other Hemsworth back, I can't remember that guy's name. But then we see this theatrical version of Hela. It's played by none other than Melissa McCarthy.
I almost screamed I almost pulled a John and screamed in the theater. That was so good. Such a reveal.
It was
the best
so
reveal since Charlie Cox.
Harry Styles as a...
Oh my God, fucking Harry Styles.
That was the one Kendra almost...
I think I might have screamed.
Yeah.
It was after the fact. There weren't a lot of people there. It was fine.
Natalie Portman has made her triumphant return to the Thor series.
And departure.
And yeah. But...
That's fine.
What was cool, though, is that somehow going back to some of those, bringing her back felt like new life to this, which is essentially, because Ragnarok, anyway you slice it, it was kind of a soft reboot of the Thor franchise.
Yeah. But it was missing her.
Right. But including her in this like new iteration of these movies, she was a very good fit, and and she was funny. And she was just a complete badass as the mighty Thor. And I loved the chemistry she had with Chris Hemsworth in this movie.
And they added, because they spent time together in the first movie.
Sorry, I just read his fucking
comment. I know. They spent time together in the first movie. And it was believable that they would have fallen in love. I don't remember a lot of the second movie because it wasn't great. And I only watched it once. But going back and seeing them have a life together. Yeah. Like a domestic, normal, for the most part, life together. I feel it made me like her character more. Right. Because it felt like there was actual history between them. And again, her in this movie, and I know Natalie Portman can be funny. I've seen her be funny before. But seeing her be so joyful, even being the one dying of cancer, the one person dying of cancer. Right. And she was so funny the whole time. I think this was a really good send-off for her. Yes. And I'm glad that Natalie Portman agreed to come back and do it, because I think also having a female Thor is going to be more important than we realize for little kids now. Oh, absolutely. I really, really enjoyed her. And I was surprised at how much of that story arc they used, of Jane Foster's The Mighty Thor. Because that's some heavy shit to do in the first place in a comic book and a movie. Where her superpowers are essentially killing her. Yeah. So that's some heavy shit. So I was appreciative that they didn't pull any punches. I would say in Phase 4, they've kind of pulled back on pulling punches. Yeah. They're we're gonna fuck you up. Yeah, they're just gonna go for it. And but I appreciate that, because again, that's more impactful.
Dealing with cancer is about as human as it gets. Yeah. A cancer story like that in a superhero movie, talk about human stories.
Again, and also one where there's no resolution. They can't save her. Typically in a superhero movie, I would assume at the end there would be magic. They would have given her Thor's blood and it would have solved everything. They didn't do that.
No, it was out of his hands, much like everyone else's deaths in his life.
And he accepted it.
It is out, and that was the thing. He finally accepted it. Yeah. And yeah, it was just so much they did in this movie that was so good. Glad we got to see Darcy for a hot second.
Yeah, we got a little bit. We got a lot of bit of Darcy in WandaVision. In WandaVision.
So. But I was excited to see her back.
It made sense, and having at least there was someone there for Jane, because who else would be there?
Yeah, Dr. Selvig made a quick cameo.
He was trying to cure her cancer.
The fucking goats.
The goats were fucking. Why do they? They didn't need to sound like that. Who's that one guy who does all the voice acting?
That one guy
that
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, see, you didn't need very much, and you got there. I would have loved to see at the very end that he voiced those.
Have you heard anything about the new what if Miles Morales was the mighty Thor?
Oh, is that the racist one?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's not great.
I did hear about that.
He said, "By Odin's fade." Or he said, "My hood is Asgard." Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, we're not very fond of that either. I couldn't believe it when I first heard about that. That's how fucking out of touch do you have to be in 2022? It doesn't even make sense. Odin's fade doesn't even make sense. It's not even clever.
Who the fuck? And his Mjolnir was all tagged up with graffiti. I'm like, who read this and was like, huh? I think we should put this out.
Should have said it's hammer time.
He probably fucking did.
That would have been better. Insane.
Yeah, anyway. I was like... Anyway, yeah, I love the way they use Natalie Portman in this movie. I think she she brought it, and I think you're right. I think it was a really lovely send off for her.
And I think that was probably her intention, was to do it one last time and bring her all. That's her third, and I think it's more impactful for her character to have died valiantly in battle and gone to Valhalla.
Right.
Also, did you see that in an interview, it came out that Taika Waititi asked Natalie Portman if she wanted to be in his Star Wars movie, and she was like, I was in the Star Wars movies. And he was like, I forgot about those ones. That's what he said. I forgot about those ones. That's the fucking funniest thing I've ever heard in my life, and it wasn't even intentional.
Yes, and to everything you just said. Christian Bale, he was awesome in this movie. I mean, he's
frightening, terrifying.
Yeah. He's awesome in everything, I think.
Very scary. Was he the one in Newsies?
Yeah. Yep, he was the original Jack Kelly.
Interesting. Also, wait, can we talk about how canonically Valkyrie, essentially me in an alternate universe,
oh yeah,
wearing for Jim Jams, her pajamas, Phantom of the Opera sweatshirt? Are you fucking kidding me?
Loved it. I knew that was gonna happen, and I purposely didn't tell you.
You didn't tell me?
Nope, because I wanted you to be surprised in the theater.
Know?
Because Broadway World did an article on it.
Oh my god!
About how in that trailer, one of the trailers, TV spots or something, they saw that, and how Tessa Thompson said that Valkyrie's a fan of musical theater.
Oh my god! I'm Valkyrie. Like they stole my likeness, and I demand payment. Oh my god! That was our next point, is about chemistry. Are you on our Google Doc?
I was gonna say that's.
Here's the thing. Natalie Portman was like 11 and a half in those movies, right?
Well, not in the third one.
How old was she?
How
old was she? 12?
No. So you got to remember, time doesn't work the same way in the Star Wars universe, apparently. I'm joking. This is a fucking joke. Because apparently when Natalie Portman was supposed to have aged 5 years, fucking Anakin aged like 15.
Yeah.
He somehow became older than her.
I think it's because Natalie, she wasn't 11 and a half, whatever, but she was young.
Right.
They both were. So I think we're going to give her the benefit of the doubt on that one.
But anyway, going back to chemistry.
I was talking about chemistry.
Line of sentence.
I was talking about chemistry. Her chemistry was bad because she was young. She didn't know any better.
Yeah, but by episode 3, they weren't supposed to be that young.
I mean Natalie Portman.
Like the actor.
Yes.
She wasn't that young. She was in her 20s.
Natalie Portman. She was in her 20s? That can't be right. That cannot be true.
I'm gonna tell you how old Natalie Portman is right now.
I don't care about how old she is right now. How old is she?
She's Israeli.
Yeah, I did know that.
She is 41 right now.
Okay.
And Star Wars Episode 3 was released in 2005.
Okay.
So she was born in 81. All right.
Why did you do it that way? Why didn't you just...
She was 24.
So wait, how old was she in the first one? When did that come out? 1999, or am I thinking of Xenon?
No, you might be right.
I might be thinking of Xenon.
Star Wars.
Or 2000.
Episode 1, 1999.
Oh my god, I'm such a Star Wars stan.
So she was in 1981. She was 19.
19. A child.
Okay. So by the time they were filming, 17, 18, she was about 19 when it was released.
And was this one of her like earliest projects? I assume so. Was this like her first big movie? I think, isn't it like known and accepted that she is very stiff in those movies?
I think you're thinking of Hayden Christensen.
I think I'm thinking of Natalie Portman.
I don't think you are.
Hayden Christensen.
She's not. I wouldn't say she's stiff in those movies.
You don't think she's stiff in those movies?
In the Star Wars movies? No. Not at all. I mean, is there corny dialogue that they wrote for her? Yeah, but...
Maybe I need to rewatch them. I've only seen them twice.
So shut the fuck up.
Oh my god. But I agree with the chemistry thing. I think she has great chemistry with Chris Hemsworth, and I think it's because she's a better actor now.
I think she has great chemistry
with him. God.
All right, y'all. Coincidentally, I think that was one of the issues in the first 2 Thor movies, was that their chemistry wasn't like fully fleshed out. I also don't think they knew what to do with the Thor character.
The character of Thor was not ideal.
Right.
Because again, they weren't letting Chris Hemsworth play into his strengths. Now that they're letting them be looser and funnier
Right.
and more charismatic and not robots. And I get he was like supposed to be like an alien crashed down on our planet with no
Right.
fucking clue how to do anything. But I think that also helps with the ability to have good chemistry together.
Right. And yeah, and it could also have been the direction at the time, you know. I feel like Taika Waititi, he seems like a pretty easygoing guy, pretty fun director to work with. That's why Christian Bale did this movie, is because he wanted specifically to work with Taika Waititi.
Oh, that's cool. Same. I
Yeah.
get it.
So it could have just been she wasn't meshing well with the powers that be at the time. And yeah, I thought the chemistry was really, really good in this. One other thing, as we kind of get into the tail end of Thor: Love and Thunder, one thing I really, really loved about this movie is so gay.
Well, okay. So I saw in a press conference that Natalie Portman and Taika Waititi were saying that it was very gay. So I walked into this movie thinking, this is going to be the gayest shit I've ever seen. And Nadia, I watched Glee. This didn't even scrape the surface. I mean, it was gay. There was gay in it, which I'm happy about. Seeing like a casual amount of gay, that's fine by me.
For these types of movies, I think it's a big deal.
Yeah. I was just, because I heard that it was going to be super gay, I was expecting it to be super gay.
Right.
More gay. But it was gay.
I think the gays are gonna go crazy seeing King Valkyrie in that suit.
The gays already went crazy for that.
I went crazy for it. I'm not even gay.
I watched Rant. I know gay media.
Taekwon, are you a musical theater person? Are you a theater nerd?
Are you a theater?
You're giving me theater nerd vibes. And I mean that as a compliment, given my line of work. But anyway, yeah, I think it was kind of the same thing when they did with the Loki series. But in the Loki series, when they, you know, show that Loki's gender is literally like gender fluid.
Yeah.
And also that Loki has been with men and women.
Loki just doesn't give a shit.
Right.
And that's fine with me.
And so that was like, that caused the fucking panic. I watched Pose on FX. That's all I get.
I watched Queer as Folk on fucking Stars or Showtime.
We watch Our Flag Means Death.
That's gay.
That's gay. That was gay before they knew they were gay.
We knew they were gay before they knew
Right.
they were gay.
I watched Stranger Things. I heard Will's monologue. That's gay.
Okay. He doesn't know that's gay yet.
Yeah, poor kid.
All that to say, I thought it was going to be more gay, but seeing, again, any gay, like you said, it's presented so casually.
Right.
It wasn't the focus of anything. In passing, King Valkyrie kissed a woman's hand.
Right.
And was flirting with them.
And Korg.
And Korg's dad's.
And Korg himself.
And Korg himself.
Yeah.
With that man with the mustache.
Dwayne. But yeah, I agree. I like and it wasn't like Disney's Jungle Cruise where like they kind of said this guy was gay but didn't really.
Well,
and they made that like a big moment for him.
That was like a big moment, and it was like it was saying gay without saying I'm gay.
Right. And in this it was like a little more outward and
yeah. It was
like
kind
you
of
said,
like
casual.
when America Chavez was like, my mom's.
Right.
And we got to see her moms and all that stuff. And that's pretty gay. But like, yeah, I'm happy with the level of gay. I'm glad that they're not shying away from it. Especially as Disney.
Right.
Because we've heard some shit about Disney recently. And I just hope in the future this is the baseline amount that we get.
Right.
And it only goes up from here.
So let's talk a little bit about very quickly, the post-credit scenes. So in the movie, we find out that, Thor, after we thought Korg was killed, I was shocked. Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
I thought they were going to kill Korg.
Yeah, glad they didn't.
He's fine.
But they throw that thunderbolt through Zeus, and we presume he's dead, and they think he's dead. We later find out in a post-credit scene that he is not dead, and instead kind of talking a little bit of war. He's pissed. Yeah.
Pissed.
He's like, we're gods, not these superheroes.
Yeah.
Why don't you go put him in their place, Hercules?
Yeah.
And then fucking dude from Ted Lasso comes out as Hercules. So, I mean,
I've seen that guy in something else.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool that the MCU is introducing their version of Hercules, especially because he's supposed to be like super powerful.
Yeah. And if he's going to be like, at least in the beginning, some sort of villain or like anti-hero, that's pretty cool. I'm hyped for Hercules. I'm excited for Marvel's resident college party frat fuckboy.
Yeah,
that's kind of the vibes that I got, and I'm okay with that. I mean, Hercules and myth is not.
You know what I was thinking
right?
about after this post-credit scene? was like, okay, so in Miss Marvel, he quotes, her like guidance counselor quotes the lyrics to Reflection from Mulan.
Right.
So, okay, I'm like, okay, in the MCU, I'm thinking too much about this, but in the MCU, the Disney Golden Era has happened. Hercules is technically included in that.
Hercules must know that we made a movie about him. Right.
Or he's going to find out. Also, Hercules in the comics parties and cucks his wife on the daily.
Oh, no. Like father, like son.
Truly. Anyway.
Zeus cucked his own wife and had a bastard child and then named him after her in Greek myth. Hercules in Roman mythology is Heracles because Hera was Zeus's wife.
Right.
That is such top tier level, like petty bullshit. Sorry. I hope they bring that up.
Right. So anyway, I'm also excited for them to bring in Hercules and see just where the fuck he fits in into all of this.
I would love to have more mythology, like mythological characters like Thor.
Greek, yeah. Join.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
We should have picked up on that from Zeus's immaculate Greek accent in this fucking movie. I loved Russell Crowe as Zeus. It was such pitch perfect casting, and I loved what he did with the character. I love that he comes from behind that fucking podium and he's wearing the skirt.
Yeah, and he like flips it out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I really like this movie line. I like this post-credit scene. I'm excited to see what they do with this character and where else he might pop up in. Because there's 1,000,001 different places he could pop up in.
Yeah.
The second post-credit scene is actually after Jane Foster dies in the movie. She turns into the golden dust that we saw his mother, his father. They all kind of turn into, and she appears at a gate of some sort, and it turns out, and is greeted by Heimdall, who thanks her for, reprised by Idris Elba, thanks her for saving his son, protecting his son, and welcomes her to Valhalla. Mm-hmm. And I really, really like this. I don't know that this scene is gonna amount to anything more than just being a really nice send off for both Natalie Portman and Idris Elba, because I didn't know Idris Elba was even going to be in this. Mm-hmm. So I think it was just meant to be a
happy ending.
Yeah, I feel better because Idris Elba, when he went out in Infinity War, was fucking sad, and that was the last time we saw him. Aww. And so getting to see him and he knows his son's okay.
Right.
I didn't even know he had a son.
He must be able to still see stuff. They must be able to still see.
So
that's
it was
another
really
thing.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't know he had a son, and to just have that possible setup for the future to have another Heimdall.
Right.
Sif is back. Yeah.
Yeah. After she was slapping the shit out of Loki in the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also glad she's back. That was one of my one of the funny fucking parts of the movie was when Thor finds her and he's like, well, you have to die in battle to go to Valhalla. And she goes, shit. So, he goes, maybe your arm's in Valhalla.
That would have been cool to see. Kind of
a floating arm.
No, what's the one from
the Addams Family?
The Addams Family. Hand?
I think it's just hand.
If her hand just is on Idris Elba's shoulders.
Stop.
Also, speaking of Idris Elba, that wig that they gave him, anti-black. That was racist. I don't know what it is. I think if I remember correctly, his wig in Ragnarok wasn't that bad.
Right.
It was grown out dreads, it looked lived in.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that bad. But this one was so bad. Just let him let him wear his natural hair.
Right.
Are you worried people would be like, that's Idris Elba?
why doesn't I think people might have I think it's a catch-22 because I think if they didn't have his dreads, I think
people would be why'd they get rid of his dreads?
Right.
I would have rather than that fucking
right.
Anyway.
But so that was Thor: Love and Thunder. I mean, there's a lot of questions still, when will we see Thor again? Mm-hmm. What will presumably this young girl he's taking care of, presumably Love.
Love, yeah.
And obviously they're kind of setting up a lot of this.
What do you mean? Just because my hair is straightened, don't get me.
Wait,
wrong.
It's important to me that you know this. I'm Latin. I'm not black.
I am black.
Yeah, she is black.
And we can call out stuff as being anti-black when it's clearly anti-black, like a bad wig.
I'm just messing with you.
I mean, my whole life.
we do know that it says Thor will return.
Yes.
Which makes me very happy.
Yes. I'm surprised he's still going along. I mean, I guess out of everyone, I don't know, because Thor's story is so sad. But I mean, he was one of the original Avengers.
Right.
He's one of the only ones left.
I think we're going to start seeing him less and less.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see him in... Do you think Love is going to be part of, like, the Young Avengers?
Yes. I think eventually. She's very young.
She's very young.
But, I mean, there's so much they can do, because, like... You have fucking Wanda's kids if they ever pop back up, which they very well may not.
Yeah.
But if they did, there can be any sort of like magic time jump they do. You know, something that ages them up. Mm-hmm. Same can be. You know, we already know that a new older actress is going to be playing Ant-Man's daughter in the next one.
Oh yeah, older compared to the compared to the original child.
No,
when you said older, I was thinking like, oh, who's like an older woman that they got to play something.
In Endgame, his daughter was a teenager because he missed out. So yeah,
older than a child. Yes. When I hear older, I just think like
45.
Yeah.
No, I mean yes, older than a child. So an adult. They're getting an adult to play this character.
Okay.
So like you have like older characters like Yelena, this woman, Hawkeye.
Yeah. Kind of age ranges are
Chrissy Lang with two
all over.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be interesting, something different and new.
But so it might be some time before we see that. It seems like a lot of the newer Young Avengers are going to probably be some like teenagers. Mm-hmm. Although we saw a bunch of kids in this movie kicking ass, so who knows?
They were also empowered with
Thor's power.
With Thor's power, yeah.
But she's got Stormbreaker.
She's got Stormbreaker,
and she has the power of a god.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, I think it's definitely if it's not like intended now to be something that they're setting up for the future, I think eventually will come up again. And I would love to have Love be continued to be played by a Hemsworth. I think that'd be really cool.
That was a very cool moment.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Gore's daughter, did she have a name or just Love?
He just kept calling her my love. Yeah, so I'm guessing
that child is Chris Hemsworth's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
India Rose. Yeah,
Hemsworth. So I thought that was cool. And also if you look and see like the Asgardian children, there are a lot of last names, Watiti and Hemsworth in there. So it's pretty cool.
Selfish bastard.
I know, right? Like that didn't come up before. It's the riding the broom thing we didn't know was possible. Yeah. Maybe he didn't know if it was going to work and he was just taking a chance.
Right. All right. Moving on. Next main topic. Oh, it is The Boys. We just wrapped up season 3 of the Amazon Prime original series, The Boys.
Glug, 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 glug. Do you want me to leave the spoiler thingy up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, we're talking about The Boys. Now, Kendra kind of dipped her toes into watching this show a little bit.
I dip in and out. I didn't watch the finale. I heard about it after the fact.
But I'll just want to give y'all a quick kind of general impression of the season, and especially those last 2 episodes. I mean, I love this show. I think this is one of the best superhero properties out there right now. It's such a different concept, and of course, it's like playing on pre-existing things. So like superheroes, like Superman, Captain America, The Flash, any sort of speedster. Like they're playing on a lot of different kind of characters. Your typical Marvel DC tropes. So the concept's really cool. This season, it wasn't as like action packed as season 2, because season 2 was just like nuts, like balls to the wall crazy. This one was balls to the wall crazy in a different way. It was like the stakes have never been higher than this season, which made for a lot of really great drama. And so for that alone, I would highly recommend checking this show out. And this season in particular, I thought was really, really good. Especially the last 3 episodes of the season were crazy, because episode 5, everything with after fucking Herogasm was just fucking great. And it only just when you thought it like couldn't get worse or couldn't get like
crazier
or just more high tension, it did. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Herogasm. Enough said. Yep. And Yeah, I really love the way this show went this season, because it felt very personal for all of the characters. Like everyone had something to lose, which is a very interesting way for them to play it. I really, really love the relationship between Kimiko and Frenchie. You were in for a lot of that.
Yeah, I like that.
I talk about, again, someone else. I love that canonically Kimiko's thing. She can't speak. She's a mute. She loves musicals. So that just the relationship she has with Frenchie is just so sweet. And I was like, nothing better happened to them.
And things happened.
And things did happen, but it was okay. They made it out just fine. And the storyline with Queen Maeve I thought was very interesting. Especially that she can't sing along.
She can if it's a dream sequence.
Yeah, they had a very lovely musical sequence in this show. Just like, I loved when they did it with Hawkeye, and they did it here. So I'm like, keep bringing me the musical theater superhero crossovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the show is, a lot of twists and turns. A lot of just crazy shit. Herogasm is one of the craziest episodes of anything I've ever seen. The first episode of this season was one of the craziest things I'd ever seen.
The first 10 minutes of the first episode.
Yeah, because they literally enter, a character named Termite who has like Ant-Man-like powers, shrinks down, enters another man's penis, and it just kind of...
And then sneezes.
Tickling him from the inside, and then sneezes and kills him.
Pulverizes a man.
Mother's Milk and Herogasm. He's trying to find a bathroom. He opens the door and gets blasted with semen.
Damn it.
There's a whole...
This is what the MCU is missing.
There's a whole action sequence where Kimiko is killing people with
dildos, yeah.
Superhero-themed dildos.
I remember that one.
So this show is absolutely crazy, but the general vibe of it being like super heightened.
Skadooshed.
Yeah.
God damn.
Skadoosh though.
I've never heard that term before.
God damn.
God damn.
But the finale was also very fucking crazy. So Herogasm gave us our first fight between Homelander, Soldier Boy, and a newly super powered Butcher. That was fucking nuts. So we got another fight in the finale, but it involved so many fucking people. Homelander, Soldier Boy, Queen Maeve, Butcher, even Ryan, Homelander's bastard son.
Poor kid.
Bastard by name.
Well,
and
not anymore.
At this point, bastard by fucking
actions.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, fuck that kid. Actually, I don't feel bad for him.
Right. But it was interesting. Just like everyone in the show is constantly dealing with like who's worth saving, who's not worth saving, like who is family, who's not family, what does family actually mean, what does family actually look like. Yeah, it was, because even going back as earlier in the season with Victoria Newman turning on Stan Edgar. So like it's been a lot of this all season, and we've got a lot more warnings at the beginning of episodes this season than we have in previous seasons. That just gives you an idea what the show is. But yeah, so basically by the end of the season, like Homelander is still unhinged. He's got his whole unite the right type patriots that are on his side, and he's not only unhinged, he's also enabled. He murdered a guy on TV and was cheered for it. The guy who started cheering was Mother's Milk's fucking daughter's stepdad.
Yeah. Who's a real cock.
Yeah, don't like him. It's funny. I'm seeing memes all over the place. They're like, is a picture of that guy, and they're like, everyone hated this guy more than Homelander, and he wasn't on screen nearly as much.
That's fair. But like,
right.
Homelander's only so powerful, well, because of his powers, but also because of the fact that he's basically untouchable.
Yeah, now.
Because nobody gives a shit. No one cares. Homelander was heartbroken, but I'm calling him murdering Black Noir racially motivated.
I'm not okay with that scene.
Black Noir was my favorite character.
I know, and you only just jumped in this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like I really like the Black Noir character as well.
The cartoons at the end. I didn't even watch it. It was just described to me, and that's so fucking sad.
Seeing that, I got a little misty eyed. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's easy to do, but
a lot of what Homelander does seems racially motivated.
Yeah, I mean, he was indeed in a relationship with a literal Nazi.
Yeah, that's racially motivated.
I don't think that's, but I don't. Well, not that this is any better. I don't know that he's necessarily racist. I think he just has a fucking god complex.
Yeah.
But also, he's probably a little bit racist.
Yeah. I think to be so, like, that's a supremacist mindset, even if it's not necessarily rooted in race.
But yeah, when he murdered him, I was sad. But what made it sadder was the fucking cartoon characters. And I was like, God damn it. This shouldn't be this sad for a character who almost never spoke.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I was very upset with him. But anyway, so Homelander's unhinged, being enabled, has Ryan.
I guess you could make that. That's, you know what? That's something Homelander would say.
Yeah. Even after she was burnt to a crisp, he was still seeing her.
Ugh.
Yeah, in multiple ways. But now Ryan, his son, is getting a little taste of that, like, I'm powerful. I can do whatever I want. Fascism.
Tasty.
And now there's no Seven. Maeve is gone. Fucking Starlight's gone. Stormfront and her replacement are both dead. And Black Noir is dead. So now there's just Homelander, the Deep, and A-Train.
The fucking Deep. And A-Train, who... I think A-Train is becoming more and more radicalized as time goes on. Didn't he just get a racist man's heart implanted in him?
Yeah.
He can run again, though. That's good.
Yeah, but now his family doesn't want anything to do with him. Because
of the heart thing?
No, because... So when Blue Hawk attacked all those people... He paralyzed A-Train's brother.
Oh, I never knew what came out of that.
From the legs down.
I didn't know what came out
so
of that.
Now A-Train can run again, but now his brother can't fucking walk.
Yeah, all because of this press conference that he agreed to.
Yeah, the Fantastic Trio. What a fucking trio.
Yeah, that's embarrassing, actually.
Because Homelander was such a dick to A-Train.
Yeah.
He's a dick to everyone. And the Deep committed fucking treason.
The Deep is... From what I remember of the first season... I don't think I watched very many episodes of the first season, but I know that he tried to sexually assault...
No, didn't try. He did.
He sexually assaulted someone. And I saw that happen. And I said, I don't like this guy. And then for him to become like a fucking... He fucks fish now.
He fucks fish. Although, I will say, one of the most disturbing scenes of this entire series is when Homelander makes him eat that live octopus.
Oh my God, and he's praying. Oh
that was
my God.
So fucking disturbing and sad.
Yeah. For the octopus, not the Deep.
Yeah.
I don't like the Deep.
Yeah,
I don't like that man.
Okay, he's a rapist. Like,
wife. Are they still married?
No,
okay.
She left him by the end of the season.
That's sad because she was also fucking insane.
Because he wanted to have a threesome
with the octopus.
Right.
Yeah, I was there for that.
He met that octopus at Herogasm. It was just an octopus in an aquarium.
Just someone's pet.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, I really want to get in with that.
And he did.
I
hope that octopus chomps his penis off.
We don't know what octopus... Remember that was the rumor in Peacemaker.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
He's like, I'm tired of that fucking rumor. But yeah, so there's no Seven. Victoria Newman, the head popper, she's now taken that the guy the Deep killed was going to be running for vice president. So now Victoria Newman, and we all know the power play that's going to happen is that she's going to try and pop Homeboy's head so that she can become president, and Vought controls the government. So the rest of the boys were like, can't let that happen.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of the boys, besides Soldier Boy is also still alive. He's just back on ice. Hopefully he doesn't come back. Love the character. I hope he does come back, but for them, that'd be very shitty. I feel like if you're an animal,
you should expect bestiality rumors.
Yeah. Well, in the Deep's case,
they were true.
They were true all the time. I think in season 2, it came out that he had an affair with a dolphin.
Yeah. People have done weird shit with dolphins in real life.
But the biggest thing that I'm curious how season 4 is going to navigate, because they've already been greenlit for season 4, is that Butcher is dying. because he took so much of that temporary V. They say he's got like 12 to 18 months to live. So I'm like, unless they truly kill him off next season, like, I don't know how they're going to navigate that. So maybe what I'm thinking they might do is they might actually inject him with the permanent V and kind of see if that keeps him alive. He would become a soup, and he hates soups. So like, that's interesting to navigate. Also loved Starlight's arc this whole series. She's kind of taken ownership of who she is, not as a superhero, but just like as a person, and seeing how powerful she truly is. It's very exciting to see where that character goes. They're gonna pull an Empire and keep him alive. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean he's also very good on the show, so like it'd be hard to do it without him. But yeah, so my overall impression, I'm really excited for season 4. I hope that it doesn't take, again, there was a whole ass pandemic that happened. But I hope we'll get to see more of them sooner rather than later. Hopefully it's not a full 3 years before we see another season.
It was 3 years before.
It was really long between seasons 2 and 3, but it was because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's The Boys. Moving on. Miss Marvel, the latest Disney Plus MCU series. We're about to actually head into the season finale, but I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about our general impressions and thoughts on the show so far, going into the finale.
I really like the show. This is one where I understand how it can be polarizing for people, just like stylistically. Because I feel like it's very young. I think it's like geared towards young people because it's about young people. But like, I try to convince my dad and my brother to watch all of the Disney Plus Marvel shows. And this is the hardest one to sell them on. I don't think they've seen any of it yet. I really like it though. Kamala reminds me a lot of me. When I was a kid, I remember telling you about this when we first saw it, because her whole thing was like, oh, she's like stuck in like this fantasy world, like is in her head all the time. That was fully me when I was in middle school and high school. Like inside, you would have thought I was on a television show. Like I was the main character of a television show, because in my head, just like it was unhinged. I probably wasn't mentally well, and I was just dealing with it any way I could, which was to write a show about myself.
Right.
Anyway, so it reminds me of myself in high school, so it's kind of cool to see like that represented in a Marvel property and have it be something that's like young. And I like like I said, the stylization, like the organic way that they incorporate writing into like the atmosphere. It reminds me of Scott Pilgrim. I know that comparison has been made a lot. Scott Pilgrim versus the World is one of my favorite movies. Right. Don't come for me. But yeah, so I've been really, really enjoying it. But I, on the other hand, also understand why the things that I love about it would be stuff that people hate about it. It is very much like not Marvel, like original Marvel, like first Avengers movie type of content. You know what I mean? Like, sure. It's different. It even reminds me of like Canadian television shows. I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks that, but it's great to see representation of Muslim characters. Being able to go inside, like I've never been inside a mosque. Right. I don't know the practices. Yeah. I didn't know you were supposed to take your shoes off. I mean, I know that's common in a lot of different cultures around the world. Right. But seeing it in action and seeing like the community and the family dynamics and like what a wedding ceremony looks like and what that involves, what like their version of like a church group looks like, the dynamics of it. It's all super, super cool. And I'm glad that people are being able to see that. Kind of like we're learning a lot about the partition of India and Pakistan. A real world event that happened and affected millions of people that I don't think I ever learned about in school. In school, I didn't learn about it. If I did, it was like an aside, mentioned briefly. I learned about the partition from Doctor Who. Right. That's sad. But if it's gonna be up to media to show people real world events that affect millions of people still now today, then we better cover as many types of people and cultures and countries and religions as we possibly can. So
Absolutely.
I think it's really, really cool that they're doing that. And doing it authentically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely agree. It never crossed my mind that the filmmaking would be, something that would be divisive because I liked it so much.
I know. I like it too.
Every time, like, there's that conversation Kamala and Bruno were having about like her cosplay and like how all the art on the wall was changing as they were walking. I thought that was so fucking cool, the animation there. Anytime they're doing text conversations and like you see it, some
Even
practical, some
everything. Marvel logo every time is beautiful, fantastic.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I think, to me, at least personally, I think this is one of the stronger MCU Disney Plus shows because of what they're doing so differently with the filmmaking and just the general vibe of the show. I think you're right. I think it does steer very young, but they're not, it feels young without feeling like it's dumbing it down.
Right.
Because they're showing stuff that, presumably young women deal with.
Right.
So like there's, when Kamala's like freaking out about her powers in the bathroom, first thing her friend does is offer her a tampon and she goes, I also have pads.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's some shit that they would have to worry about.
Isn't it insane that like this is the first year that we're seeing like tampons in stuff?
Right.
And the fact that people are still like mad about it.
Well, people just started getting their periods this year, from what I hear.
I don't know if you know this. And also, you only start getting your period when you're 18. Kids don't get their periods.
18, 19, 21.
People are so fucking stupid and annoying. Sorry, on the internet.
To really pick up on what you're saying, I really love the character building. I think that's what's strongest about this particular series. It's an origin story that's like not. It's so interesting because of all the history, the real life history based on like real life kind of people. Like you have like Kamala's a YouTuber with like 3 subscribers.
That's us.
That's literally us. And historically, Middle Eastern culture is not shown in a positive light over this side of the world.
Yeah.
And so finally getting something to show this Pakistani culture, and it's like Kendra has been watching this with me. I have just been like obsessed with it. It's beautiful. The music is fantastic. I love all the colors and the different type of like traditions they use. I'm in a stream as the only viewer. Hashtag so relatable.
You didn't have to say anything about it though.
Damn.
You didn't have to say anything. It's fine when we make that joke.
It's a good joke. It's a great joke even.
But shut up. But yeah, like you're saying, it's like it's almost like a meme at this point that when you show Middle Eastern, South Asian countries, they're like yellow toned.
Right.
For whatever reason. Wonder what that's about. And you're seeing like areas of disrepair.
Right.
As if America doesn't have some issues.
Right.
And you could go to any state and find a place that looks bad.
Right.
And that's all that's presented. This is the whole country. Is this one place that looks bad and is for some reason yellow. But when we saw Karachi, it was beautiful. It was presented as beautiful, and that's gonna be more similar to the real life counterpart than the bullshit versions we see in Western media. Right.
And again, this goes back to a lot of what Phase 4 is doing, with movies like Shang-Chi, The Eternals, then you have Ms. Marvel, and I feel like there's one I'm leaving out. But either which way, they're showing all of these different cultures. And I mean, I think Disney overall right now finally, and after like 100 years of being a movie studio, is just showing a lot more walks of life. And I love that the MCU specifically is doing that, because historically speaking, that was Marvel's whole thing. DC had all these like godlike characters. Marvel has these characters that are like real people that happen to be extraordinary.
Right. And I think the reason why it's so successful in filmmaking is because they're getting people authentically from these cultures to represent these cultures.
Right.
Because otherwise you're going to get by Odin's fate or whatever the fuck bullshit. Like when it's genuine, when it's authentic, when it's people talking about their own culture, it's going to be 10 times better.
Right.
Than having people speak on their behalf, which never works out well.
Right. And they talk about, some stuff in this, her friend is nervous about running for like a seat in her mosque because she's like, well, she's a young woman, a teenager, and it's, a boys club essentially.
Yeah.
Also, I wouldn't typically say this for most things. In most scenarios, I would tell all my fellow brown people out there and be like, stay away from that white man. But in this case, that boy Bruno loves you, Kamala.
Bruno's a good one.
He's a good one.
He's a good one.
We're rocking with Mark.
Because Mark is rocking with us. He's so sweet and cool.
Yeah.
Aww, Bruno.
And talk about another thing I really love on the show is just Kamala's family.
Kamala's family, that's like, I think this is
The healthiest.
The healthiest family we have. We say Marvel is authentic, but we just saw a non-Afro Latina as America Chavez. That's fair.
Yes.
A lot of people were upset by that.
I'm not familiar enough with America Chavez to know
The character.
that I didn't know she
was
pick that up.
Afro-Latina. I knew she was Latina. I didn't think she was Afro-Latina.
Yeah.
But I know that people were upset about that.
Right.
But then I also heard people being like, she's an alien. So
Right.
I also kind of understand that.
Right. And I mean, no studio is perfect. What I will say is I think they are, in this type of medium, are leading the way and being more representative. But even Marvel Studios, came to be like 2007. Iron Man came out in 2008. And it's 2022 and we're just now getting all of this. So
Right.
obviously.
It's all steps in the right direction.
Right.
But it's not we're not at the end point.
Right.
I don't think to be truly progressive, there isn't an end point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be stuff that you can change to make it better and more inclusive.
Right.
As time goes on.
Right.
But yeah, people were upset about the casting of Ms. Marvel too. I can't remember what about. I can't remember if it was about Iman. I can't remember her last name or her
Iman Vellani.
The mom.
Yeah.
I remember people being upset about the casting.
I
don't remember
why. I do think to some degree some people get a little too specific with their critiques and their kind of judgments on certain things. And again, I'm speaking from a place of ignorance myself because I don't know what the specific issue was surrounding the casting of Miss Marvel or anyone on the show. But anyway, speaking of going back to Kamala's family, this phase has been a lot about grief and trauma, specifically with families. Starting with WandaVision, and we saw a lot of that. Dealing with grief specifically in like Loki, Hawkeye, and there was also all these family dynamics in like Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Thor.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of baggage that a lot of these characters have. So seeing Kamala, even though her family's like, her mom can be like a little overbearing. That's just moms.
Her dad is so cool.
And like one of the sweetest things I've ever seen was her mom making Kamala and Kamala's father matching Hulk costumes.
And he painted himself green. He was so happy.
He was excited to go with her.
Oh my God, she was such a little shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that she has like a super loving family. Mm-hmm. This character in general reminds me a lot of Spider-Man and like Peter Parker. Just like, even from the comics, like it just reminds me a lot. And so, but for the MCU, seeing her mom and her grandma, like they find out she's got superpowers and they're like relatively cool with it because that's kind of how Aunt May was. Like she was initially shocked.
Yeah.
But yeah. Just I love her family in this show. I think the one weaker point of the series is the clandestines.
They're confusing.
They're a little confusing, and I'm thinking that the show's not focusing too much on them. They're not worrying too much about them because whatever happens with Kamala's backstory in this series is going to play directly into bigger stories like Secret Invasion and the Marvels.
Yeah, they're just strange and like not very well explained. The Miss Marvel and Spider-Man comparison is somewhat intentional, as even in the comics, she faces some of his villains on occasion. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, they're both like...
They're young.
Kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting caught in some radioactive shit.
Right.
And their lives changing.
What's in store for the finale? I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that we're going to... I actually like the way they kind of wrapped up the origin of like the bangle and all of that stuff in the last episode. It's the penultimate episode.
I thought that her mom and her grandmother... Well, her grandmother knew, so that her mom basically finding out that she has powers. I feel like it was kind of an underwhelming reaction. Like you said, she was really cool about it, but like she historically has not been cool about a lot of stuff. So I thought we were going to get a bigger reaction than just like, oh, so it's you?
Right.
I like what they did with the necklace, though.
Yeah. Cool. I didn't mind it so much, but that was just me. I see what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from. I wasn't expecting to see Carol Danvers at the end of Shang-Chi. it would be cool to see her.
She has to be in this, like, even a little bit, right? Even as, like, a commenter on her YouTube channel, like, she needs to be in this.
If it's Kree Tech, then that would certainly attract the attention of them.
Also, Marvel rebooted a series called Marvel Team Up, which traditionally included Spider-Man teaming up with a new hero in every issue, but in the reboot, it's Miss Marvel teaming up with a new hero in every issue. That's cool.
So, yeah, wow, it truly is a pretty intentional comparison or parallel.
Yeah.
But I think that's also what draws me to Miss Marvel.
You love Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man. He's one of my favorites. And Miss Marvel is quickly becoming, like, just as a character, even beyond the series, just as a character is, quickly becoming a favorite. Just because she's so likable. Mm-hmm. And I think Iman Vellani was like pitch perfect casting. But yeah, I think overall in the finale, this is one because we know that the Marvels is coming down the pike. Like, we know probably going to be some sort of nod to that. But I'm curious to see where how Damage Control fits in the rest of this. Mm-hmm. How we tie that into, I don't know what's coming first, the Marvels or Secret Invasion. I thought Secret Invasion
too.
So again, if there's like Skrull and Kree Tech involved, I'm assuming this is going to be a big part of that.
What if we don't get Carol Danvers, but we get Monica Rambeau?
We very well might. As far as I know, she was off-world with Nick Fury.
She can go back on-world.
She can go on-world.
Be an easier get, I think, than Brie Larson.
Right.
That's it. No, now that I say it, that's quite interesting.
Right. So, I don't know. I have no idea.
Or what if it's the same Skrull who got Monica? Those names are so similar.
Right. And who knows? We may fucking see Jennifer Walters in the finale. That's Jennifer.
Oh.
Is it Jessica? Jennifer. She-Hulk.
She-Hulk, yeah.
We may see, before she gets all hulked out, her pop up in this.
As just like a lawyer?
Yeah, maybe Jennifer. Okay.
Jennifer.
Yeah, maybe Ms. Marvel needs a fucking lawyer after all this.
Maybe. We do have, that we know from the trailer, there's a showdown with Kamala in her, like, full costume with DODC, so maybe. Could you imagine if the end of this, like, very, like, colorful, lively, happy series, it just hard shifts and Kamala is thrown into federal prison? Honestly, I would be so for that. That'd be so fun. No, not totally.
I'm sure that's what they're going to try to happen. They're trying to have happen with that racist ass DODC agent.
Fucking racist. But you know what? Cops be racist sometimes. So that's life. Art imitating life.
Sorry, I have to read this comment. I'm excited for She-Hulk. I want to live my giant green woman fantasy.
And what fantasy is that?
No, you know what? I gotta say, I kind of get where he's coming from.
No.
I would. What do the kids say? Let her step on me.
Okay. Okay. So is it because she's like a big, strong woman, or is it specifically because she's green? Because there's something we need to work out if it's the green thing.
I think it's the big, strong woman thing.
Okay. Taekwon,
for me.
For you, is it the green or is it the big, strong woman?
How do you feel about the Jolly Green Giant?
How do you feel about the Jolly Green Giant? How do you feel about Hulk?
How do you feel about Shrek?
How do you feel about Shriek? Fiona? Big, strong woman that dominates. To each their own. If they're green in real life, maybe pause for a second and ask yourself why. Is it makeup? That's okay. Is it alien?
Like My Alien Lover, you can find
My
here
Alien Lover on YouTube?
On Twitch and YouTube.
Or is it infection? If infection, it's not. It's don't do it.
If infection, go a different direction.
Yeah, wise words.
But who knows? We may see her in this. But yeah, so I'm curious to see how this is going to wrap up because I don't think it's.
We don't have a lot to wrap.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of the mystery has kind of been revealed now, and now that all the important people in her life. Well, not all, because her father and brother don't know, but a lot of important people in her life now know. So where does it go from here?
We have 3 clandestines out and about. The big one died.
Right.
I don't know what's happening with Kamran.
Yeah, he blew.
He's blue now.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm interested in seeing what's. Can we talk about that one moment where Kamran was like, "Mom, where's my phone?"
A lot of Kamran's deliveries sometimes just felt a little off.
But there was that. I don't know why that one line. He was like, "Where's my phone?"
He sounded accent hit so hard.
He sounded like a 35-year-old man.
My phone.
My phone.
Oi.
Where is he?
Mom.
No disrespect to that actor. He's
No.
doing a fantastic job.
I think it was just a weird
but
thing.
I thought it was fucking funny.
Yeah. Why the fuck did my ears hear Kamran like Kamran the rapper?
Because I fully did say Cameron like the rapper. Yeah.
There are a lot of ways to pronounce that name. Cameron.
Taekwon, you and I are birds of a feather because you're not only getting all the MCU stuff and all the other movie stuff, you're getting the musical theater stuff, and you just named Cameron to me. I don't think I've ever
I don't know who that is.
met someone else who is into all those things and also knows who Cameron is.
What does he sing?
You know the boy, oh boy. You know that song? That's like the most popular one. He's part of Dipset. You know, Joel Santana.
What? The fuck are you saying?
You
gave me like 0.2 seconds of a song. Don't play it. We're gonna get taken down by the internet, the government.
It's an older song. I don't know that much of it.
Okay.
Anyway, he's a rapper. He's like a popular in the 90s, 2000s.
Oh boy, thanks.
Yeah, that was the song I was trying to tell her.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard that song. I want a bowl of cereal.
You've heard it. Anyway, you're right. I did say it like that. So, Kamran, not Cameron. But yeah, I'm excited for the finale and to see where that goes. And like I said, we get a couple weeks off, and then we get She-Hulk next month.
Paramount Plus is giving... Isn't someone also giving...
Lil Jon.
Lil Jon. What is this?
I don't know. That's so weird.
It's very weird. I mean, go off, King.
Go off, King. He made a song called Curtis when he had a beef with 50 Cent. And it was...
Yeah, I'm sure he won that.
It was fucking funny.
Considering I don't know who he is,
and
but I know who 50 Cent is.
Yeah. Hip Hop My House.
Oh my God, is that really what it's called?
Is it like a house flipping show?
Flip Flop My House.
I love that. But yeah, so thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for checking us out. If you aren't already, please follow us on all the various socials: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and right here on Twitch. On that note, thank y'all for hanging out. See you next time. Peace and blessings, brother.
What was that? Bye, everybody.
Peace. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, feel free to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch. All right, see you next time.